This is a fucking podcast. Hello and welcome to RSF Radio. I am your host, Joe fucking Monday. Not like in the current sense. It's more of like a name thing and not an adjective thing. But I got two guests on this fucking podcast. Kings of the Northeast.
Nice.
The Kings of the Northeast. One of the strongest Urians in America, Burkish man, and one of the hardest working event organizers I know, LuckyD. How you doing? LuckyD, how you... Fuck, I did it again. Fuck.
I am fucking fantastic, Joe. Thank you for having us.
All right, so a little backstory on that, because people are going to hear that and be like, why did it start this way? Well, this is the second time that we started recording this, and I made the same mistake this time than I did last time after correcting myself. If we somehow lose this audio and we go back and record another bit, I'm gonna include this at the end of that.
No, trust me. By the fifth time, we'll have it down.
Yeah.
Only wasted time, but what I like to do at the start of a show. So this is one of the few times where I have more than one guest on at a time. So in that light, I like to open up this segment for whatever you guys have going on, whatever you want to push. Let's push it right at the beginning. Like, where do you want people to follow? What do you want people to watch out for that you have going on? Because I know you guys got stuff going on. So Burkish man, we'll start with you this time.
Sure. Yeah. So just like promote stuff.
Yeah. Whatever you got going on.
Yeah. So I mean, I got a Twitter. You can follow me on my Twitter. I post a lot of Urian stuff or just random things. So that's twitter.com/Burkishman. I also am sponsored by Team Dramatic. You can follow them at twitter.com/DramaticGG. Dramatic is spelled with a K. It's a little weird. I also have a Twitch that I stream on like once every year. Twitch.tv/Burkishman. I'm going to try to start streaming there more. But yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff. And then you'll catch me at random streams at tournaments in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm. You got good Urian tech. You're definitely worth a follow, at least for that.
Yes,
or
exactly.
if people want to hit you up for sets, it seems like you're always down for that.
Always down, of course.
So in that case, LuckyD, what do you have going on?
Hello. Well, I mean, first and foremost, if you have a Facebook, go ahead and join New England Fighting Game Community, NEFGC. That's the primary Facebook group where a lot of people can go and find out about events and things like that nature. If you don't have a Facebook, Traveling Controller is the name of the company. It's primarily Massachusetts with no New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. But if you're in one of those 4 states, reach out to Traveling Controller. My name's Dan. I can point you in the right direction of where to go if you're looking to, become a part of a community, go to a local, find a tournament, things like that.
So what actually is Traveling Controller? Because you say that as if, like, maybe I even know what you're talking about. But
True.
That sounds like something that, I mean, is it a local? Is it a collective of locals, perhaps?
I'd say so. The real quick version of it, and we can go into it more, but we don't have to, is that a couple years ago, the New England Fighting Game Community kickstarted a startup company that I called Traveling Controller, and I full-time build fighting game locals, venues, tournaments, monthlies, etc. Places to go and physically play fighting games with other people. And that's in the, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire area. So if there's a fighting game entity that hosts locals in that area, there's a bunch of them, and I either help at very specific, all the time, or consultation or help build and grow a lot of them.
Is this, I mean, that to me, that sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of hard work for not even just one, but like a network of people. So like a whole lot of people are involved. Even if you run it yourself, or maybe you have a couple key members that really shake things up. But that seems like a lot of work. But I mean, is it? If I were someone who had an area out in another region of the world. Let's just say, for example, Southwest Pennsylvania, for example.
Nice. You got there. Yeah. Nice.
What if I
Shout
wanted
out to all the Southwest Pennsylvania fighting game people.
We got them. We got them. I mean, fuck, man. Fucking nephew. I mean, he went to school here, but we'll own him. Anyway.
Wait, did you just pinpoint a fighting game player from the random area that you pulled out of your head?
Hell yeah, man! Western Pennsylvania, Western PA. He went to CMU.
I'm impressed. He went
to CMU. Sure, you can. It's the whole kit and kabang. It's the whole thing. But he only came out here for school. He just moved out. He said where, and I forget where it was. I think it was California. But
yeah,
wait, you're talking about nephew?
Yeah.
He just graduated, right? That's what I saw.
Yeah. He just graduated CMU.
Cool.
Full honors. But let's say
he just beat me at Combo Breakers. Let's change the subject.
Yeah, no, he's really fucking strong. Catch him on Street Fighter League tonight if you listen to this on Thursdays, or catch the VODs.
Just predicting when they're gonna listen. Catch this tonight on Christmas if you're listening on Christmas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I kind of don't. I never really consider the historicity of these episodes. To me, it's like a timely thing. It's the spirit of the times, man. It's the zeitgeist. People are living in it right now.
Hell yeah,
living in it yesterday. But all right, so reel it back. If I was trying to set up a situation where I could go somewhere and help someone start up a local or kickstart a local, let's say, or multiple locals. How would I even go about that? Is that an expensive endeavor? What is that?
I mean, of course, the local is whatever you want it to become. And a ton of people have different aspirations and ideas of what they want and what they get out of fighting games. So it's kind of like always kind of molding to whoever is like putting the effort in. But, I mean, we have maybe 5 different places that you can go in the area, maybe more, 5 to 6 places in the area that can go, and you can go physically play fighting games with people in some sort of competitive format. We have a player base of 1,200 people, and we have and then we have a venue, a centralized venue that gets 60 to 80 people every week playing a bunch of different games. So, and that all takes equipment, time, TOing, scheduling, marketing, the whole shebang. And it's always moving, it's always changing. New games are always coming out. New players come in, new players get introduced, old players come back. It's this always changing group of or management of this huge, awesome community.
Yeah, that's actually something that I feel like maybe not a lot of people have had the opportunity to experience this. You're probably one of the few people that have, but you bring up that rotation, and this is just me kind of having a heartfelt moment of man, I remember a lot of people who used to play. It just don't show up anymore, or I'll message them out of the blue and just be like, "Hey, glad you're still alive, man."
Yeah. I mean, I think it always comes down to just, do you like playing fighting games, and do you like playing the latest batch of fighting games? Because really, there's always other reasons people go to locals and majors and tournaments and regionals and competition, but really it comes down to, do you have fun playing these games, and are you a competitively minded person?
Right.
And if you check those boxes off, everything, it kind of all falls on the wayside. It's Combo Breaker 2016 is actually, and this isn't any slight toward the local Chicago scene, I think I just met some people who weren't either aware of their local scene or what have you, but I met a couple of players who were Chicago native, and we would tell them about our local scene, and they were like, we really wish we had that. Combo Breaker is one of the only times in the year that I get to actually go somewhere and play fighting games with people. And
people don't see the incredulous look on my face of like, hey, I don't know if that's true, my guy.
And see that, and that's part of it. Part of it is, you know, getting people aware of their local scene. Sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes it's just you'll get a new guy to come in, and he turns out that he's an online warrior, and he's really good, and he's been wanting a local scene. And then all of a sudden he shows up and he goes, "I had no idea this existed. Like, zero idea this existed." And now I'm super amped. Like, I'm super hyped. I thought the only way I could play was online.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting how, like, you're talking about, like, the rotation of players, because, like, when I first came into, like, the New England scene in, like, 2013, 2014, and, like, if I was to compare, like, a tournament like I had last week compared to a tournament then, it's probably, like, almost 100% different people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the player counts are, like, don't really change, if they go up, so it's, like...
Right.
As long as you create... It's like, if you build it, people will come, you know what I mean? So, people will leave, but then new people will.
Yeah, if you build it, people will come. They'll also leave, but they'll also come.
They'll leave when they don't like the game, but they'll come.
Yeah, and I think that kind of hits home one of the harder things that I deal with. I mean, I've been playing for a while now, and when
you play fighting games?
Oh yeah,
God, Dan's a fighting game player?
Yeah.
Wait, you play Dulcim? That's weird.
See me in Dragon Ball MFers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're censoring now. Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You're right. My bad.
I didn't know you were keeping up with it. Honestly, as someone who like does any stuff for the community, like actually playing fighting games is so low on the list of things that are important to me, where it's like I need to actually like keep people involved and like do all this other community stuff where like in my head, I know I can be a good player, but my hands and my ability to like actually train and practice are I ain't got it no mo.
I have seen LuckyD win like 100-man tournaments that he ran.
Hey, I didn't rig those at all. Let's go.
Hey, listen, hey man, Dulcim, you had one of the best Dulcims in America. Like I will say that. One of the most interesting Dulcims to watch back in the Street Fighter 4 era. But
I appreciate that.
Another time.
I appreciate that.
That was another time.
And yet, and that's part of the crazy thing too. I get called by like the Burkishes of the world. They call me like the OG LuckyD. And in my mind, even though I've been playing forever now, like 10 plus years, like don't feel like an OG because I know the guys who came before me.
Yeah.
And the guys who came before me were the guys who went to Chinatown Fair and would call Justin Wong Little Justin because Justin Wong wasn't anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so even though I've been playing forever and considered OG, in my mind, I'll never be OG compared to the guys who taught me.
There was always someone who came before. That's always part of it.
That's true.
Speaking of, finding locals and an online warrior perhaps finding his spot. Burkish, how did you? I know you're not online warrior, but how did you?
Online warrior Burkish.
Just stop talking.
That was I know that was the transition that I made, but it wasn't that. Wasn't fair. That wasn't fair, and also not really true.
No,
but
absolutely.
how did you find the New England community? Where was your foothold?
Yeah, so like it was exactly how like kind of Dan explained, where I was like I play Street Fighter 4. This is back in like 2012. I'm in like middle school,
right?
And I was like,
you're young. Fuck! Existential crisis just hit me.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
Okay,
I'm just gonna reel back in my chair and look off into the distance for a while.
Yeah,
and
I was in middle school eating my SpaghettiOs. And so I was like, okay. The problem was like fighting games had never been super popular. Like everybody back then was interested in like Call of Duty or whatever.
It's fair. And
so I didn't have anybody to play with. So I was like, okay, I need to find people to play with. And at this time, I wasn't a very competitive player. Mm-hmm. But I literally just Googled like New England fighting game scene, and the first thing that came up was a place called Game Underground in Framingham. So I was like, okay, this is cool. Like I'm in middle school and I want to go play fighting games with strangers. So I had my mom drive me to Game Underground. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to meet a bunch of new friends. And then I show up and this was after apparently a flood just happened. So, Dan, I don't know if you remember this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I walk in, I'm like, all right, let's play some fighting games. And there's nobody there. And it's literally the whole place, there's water everywhere. And
that venue has always been a fighting game staple in Mass. And usually our fighting game events will get, I don't know, like something 10, 20, 30 people all playing, especially Street Fighter 4. And when Nick showed up, he was brand new, so he didn't hear from any of like the social media ways that we reach out to people and say, hey, don't come. And when he came in, I felt so bad. I was just like, oh.
And I was there with my mom too.
Oh, that's the part that makes it worse.
Listen, man. I swear to God, people come here. This is not.
I was like, oh, great uncle you got here.
This is not just me sitting here alone playing.
Well, no, okay. So the first person I saw was Jamie, and I was like, hey, I'm here to play Street Fighter. And he was like, yeah, I know, the whole place is flooded. You can't do it. And then you came out. It was you and Jamie were the only people in the store. And then you came out and you're like, hi, I'm like LuckyD. And you're like, hey, let's just play. So even though there was water everywhere, me and you sat down and we played for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that was my first experience.
Yeah. And
I have to ask for clarity.
Yeah.
The people want to know. It's the first thing that came to mind. Did your mom stay?
Yeah, she did. It was my ride, man.
Dang. Didn't even like go around the corner. Oh shit.
Oh well, maybe she went to the store. I mean, this was so long ago. But then that's what got me into it. And honestly, like,
shout outs to moms. Shout outs to FGC moms.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think like having that sort of like, I guess like more intimate introduction was kind of a good thing, because like I got to know Dan, who runs everything, and he was super nice. So I was like, okay, he seems nice, like, and he seems helpful. So then when I showed up next week, I didn't know anybody, and there was like 100 people there, but I knew Dan, and so I could talk to Dan. And this is like this is back when I went 0-2 every single week back then.
Everybody does.
Everybody does, right? So and then that's how I got introduced, and then I just met a bunch of people, and then at that point I kind of got the bug. And I remember like after like week 3, I was like, like one of these days I'm gonna win one of these. And this is when I was still going 0-2. I was like, I'll make sure I win one. And it took me like 2 years, but I did start winning. So that's how I got started.
Nice. And now, the same. Do you guys still use that same venue?
No.
So we do, and
not that particular one. Game Underground still exists, but it moved.
Right. They moved. They've moved a couple different locations, but Game Underground is still a staple in the Massachusetts area for fighting games. But like I said, there's a bunch of them now. So, there's a bunch of places and a bunch of days that you can go out and find people. And like Nick said, with the whole flooding thing, the thing about the locals is that for the most part, they're always very. It's still very an underground type of thing. Like, you might see like things like Next Level or Wednesday Night Fights at like esports arenas, but for the most part, if you go to like a local scene, it's still very much like just a bunch of guys who are organizing things just to play people.
Right.
It still has that very that very grassroots feel to it, and it's transitioning. So there's other portions of it, but really the bottom line, like, is if you've never been to a local, just go and be open-minded, and then know that, like, it might not be perfect, but it's really fun. Like, it's obviously like super, like Nick said, you get a bug by meeting people, competing, going 0-2, going back after going 0-2, the whole journey. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like getting to run sets, like sitting at a station and getting your ass kicked over and over until your ass doesn't get kicked 100%. Maybe like it's 95% kicked, and then you go, aha, I've made progress.
Oh yeah, like there's nothing to compare. Like, we have one player in our scene named Zaf. You probably know who Zaf is.
Zaffarino?
Zaffarino, yeah.
Word.
And for years I was never able to beat him. So it's like the first time I beat Zaf, that was like such a great feeling.
Yeah, super talented. I mean, you also have like scrubs out there, like up to snuff, who like was doing nothing at all, and then he moves out to California, and all of a sudden he's like a superstar. Am I right?
Right.
Up to snuff.
He's a god.
And he was a fucking nobody out in New England. I mean, like not winning anything, and then a couple weeks out in California, and look where he is now.
Yeah,
that dude's been fucking awesome for a long time. I still like remember to this day, like when he was it 2016. It must have been 2016, right? Evo 2016, where he just dunks Momochi. Like
no, he beat Mago.
Mago. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Momochi.
And dunk is a really good word because he uses Nakali.
But he like dunked him. He dunked him a straight 4-0, like 4 rounds out, and I was like, "Yo, get wrecked." That shit was hype.
And the cool thing about when you get to like that level, like, you know, not everyone's gonna get to that level. But if you get to that level, like Mago, they ran into each other like over a year later at like I don't know, some gathering of players, and Mago saw him and he immediately was like, "I don't want to play you. I know who you are. Get away from me."
Still has resentment in his heart. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
over a year later.
It was a rough time, but I mean, he labbed the matchup and is obviously has been a strong player for a long time. But enough about that tall chump. That he's like a scarecrow. It's like a skeleton. That man. Yeah. He's huge and he weighs like 100 pounds. No, I just like making fun. He's a good dude. He's actually like one of the nicest guys. Like, please, if you have the opportunity, or if you want to like learn any Nakali tech or run the Nakali set, hit him up. He will like 100% be down for it. But enough about him. Let's get back to what it was like starting up Traveling Controller, because this was probably, I mean, this was no small task. And I think that there could be practical advice for people out there who see an opportunity or see people in their region or just nothing in their region to have like going from nothing to something of, well, what did you even need? Like how much money does it take? What kind of experience do I need to like start this like pop up FGC, company?
Yeah, I mean, definitely first thing is if you ever have questions or need advice or anything like that, just feel free to hit me up. I might take a second to respond to you, but just feel free to hit me up. Like, I get.
That's actually
it's
funny.
Kind of like
it's funny that you say that, because it's like every like 4 months or so you'd be like, "Hey, how's this?" And I'm like, "This is great. Like, it's great that you're doing this." I actually had drafted a message to you that was like a question, because it was. This is kind of like funny. Speaking of like not having like the time, because like you're extremely busy. Obviously, this is not your full-time job. You have like a career of your own, and also do this like extra stuff on top of that, like basically running a company on top of that. And I had drafted the message, "Hey, do you have like a social media manager that can just do all like some of this stuff for you so that you don't have to, like, so this is taken care of?"
And I can't stress it enough. 2 things. Traveling Controller, it's just me in terms of Traveling Controller. Like, this is a very like
it's low overhead.
It's just me. Like, it's just me pushing everything that I push for, that I want out of it. Like, it's me pushing really hard. But that being said, a ton of people help. Like, a ton of people help with little things, running brackets, me throwing ideas at them, whatever, like venues,
setup,
or other organizers, like, everything that you can see from like FGC stuff at the local level. I have a ton of help, and everyone's super awesome about it, and I feel really good about the whole Like everyone's playing, everyone's competitive, everyone's playing for like good reasons. And it's because of how chill the community is that it exists in the first place.
Cool.
And also, isn't our local like the second biggest in the country?
To my knowledge, in terms of bodies, yes. In terms of bodies and consistency, 60 to 80, never going lower. Sometimes above. That's so the biggest local in Massachusetts is the Balance Patch local on Fridays, and that place is always packed, and it's like 8 tournaments at 8 o'clock on Fridays. Every relevant game, and then sometimes pocket of communities that come out too, and it's just a constantly changing thing. With just a ton of people playing fighting games.
You sent me some stuff from that, because you do like fun stuff for the stream too. You're at least like trying like different weird shit, like your man in the field. We got a man in the field. You guys still doing that?
Yep.
Oh, bro, remember that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we did that for a while. Yeah, we were always trying different things with the stream, and it's just important. It's just as important for me that people who are local to the scene know and it exists, and like the stream is kind of catered to them as well as a larger audience. You know, it's because it's all really about people sitting down and playing fighting games. Like that's it, and everything gets centered around that. I've told everybody.
I will say this though too. I mean, you said this into a microphone. I did record it. This will be broadcast worldwide because I know that there's international listeners. You did say second largest local
In the States.
Okay, you said in the States. He did. All right. So to clarify, he did say second largest. I just want the people hear very clearly. That's lucky. That's
I said that.
That's at
That's
Fortunate at Fortunate Daniel on Twitter.com. Send all the complaints and saying that your local is bigger too, that their LuckyD is bigger.
Baby.
Wherever you live, I don't know where it is, but
Dude, it's just exactly like isn't it like every scene claims to be the third best? Where it's like you have Cali, New York, and then we're always like, yeah, New England's the third best scene. Yeah. But then like
because no one's going to look to prove who's the third best.
Right, and then Ohio will be like, yeah, we're probably the third best. Florida will be like, yeah, we're probably the third best. Everybody thinks they're the third best.
To that, I'll say, fuck you guys. I'm the number one best online weekly. The best. 100%. I know it. That's a fact.
No, it's true. It is a fact. It is very true.
It's just science. Who could say? I would say A4 Andre is number 2, but put him back on Twitch, please.
Is he still?
He's still fucking banned. Can you fucking believe it?
Oh my god! I just assumed that resolved itself.
Nah, not even after he went public with the reason, which was like still 100% the reason why. Like him and I talked privately shortly after, and he was like, "All right, so like if you're wondering actually why, here's why." But like, don't say this out because I don't want to affect the appeal process. But
sure.
I got to hit up the appeal process, and then like still nothing, and we're like. How almost 3 months?
Yeah,
I want to say that's like fucking long time.
That's wild. That's crazy.
I mean, that's money on his part, and that's a whole. I mean, he's still running the events. He's just doing it on YouTube now.
And that's that's a big thing where the scene has really changed too, in terms of this whole. I mean, the streaming and the YouTube and the national awareness. All of that. So if I was to say like one thing that was super important for people trying to like grow something on their own, it's the stream and the YouTube and the social media is all super important, but it really needs to always be focused on the player, like the player experience.
Yes.
And making sure people are physically going and playing. Like if Burkish shows up once and no one's there and it's a mess, I can tell him to come back, and he might come back.
I mean, I live 5 minutes from the venue.
Right. And then if he comes back again and it's the same thing and no one's there, then that's your chance. It's game over at that point. And if I'm spending all this energy and time making sure the stream is up and running, and not focusing on not doing like my due diligence with like the new guy, like what they play, who they know, how they heard about it, are they new? How new? Do you know about like the discords? Do you need to sit down and play someone? All that stuff. I mean, it's really transitioning someone from like checking it out and being a stream monster to like, hey, this is something that I actually really want to get into, or something that I wish I knew about earlier,
right?
And something where I just want to go and play someone.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm pretty much like the golden like turkey or whatever for like what Dan does is like, because I showed up and there was nobody there. It was just Dan. And just from like me playing Dan for 2 hours, I was like, yeah, I'll come back. You know what I mean? Like he didn't say, hey, you should come back. I just left and then I came back. And it was just because of how chill everybody was and like how much fun I had.
No, that I continually say this and I feel it to be true. I'm in total agreement, LuckyD, is that player experience is number one. Like you have to make sure that the people who are there to play have a good time playing the games and are able to play the games and get in as much as they want to. Like I realized very early on that like holding up a round or a match because you want to stream that match is nonsense. It's nice for posterity, and like it's nice on the other end of like, yes, like people do get to see this stuff and it gets to promote the stream itself gets to promote the players. But if like stream's down or something, or like it's a matter of getting players in and out at like faster, just fuck it, just let the players who want to play in a lot of senses. But I don't know. That's my take on it. I take a very hard stance on that of let players play.
Yeah, and the whole as the FGC grows and the things get bigger and things get nicer, like it's that I'm not saying like no to stream. Definitely not. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just trying to keep in perspective the things that are just as, if not more important than the things that I think a lot of new people trying to build locals focus on.
Yeah, no. Because like think of it this way: if there's 100 people watching a stream, that's 100 people whose asses are not in the actual local. So it's not for them; it's for the people whose asses are there. I'm worried about it's the ass in hand, not the ass in the bush, that I'm worried about. I'm going after the one ass in hand over two asses in the bush.
Yikes.
Not going after the ass and the bush. I'm just going after the ass in hand. All right, so we workshopped it. I think we landed on the right one there. That's the
going,
joke
man.
to make.
I want to hear what's next.
No, I think that's it. That's the. Okay. I think that's the limit of that one.
I dig it.
But no, I mean that's like more power to you. I mean, you're out there in the New England area. You've got multiple locals running. The second or third largest, who can say local?
Oh, do you have a candidate? Who's the second largest?
Listen, I'm just saying what it's a good event. All right, it's a good local. It's well established. We're gonna try to have another one open up pretty soon at a different spot. So it's working. Let's just keep building. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Out of curiosity, how many setups do you personally move between events?
I mean, it always like I said, it's always changing.
You
but
scale.
I have but I mean, 2025 is like the big like we need to bring it it all. But it always depends on how many people. I mean, and when I say like when there's fighting games, like obviously Street Fighter is a huge staple in it, at least in the Massachusetts area. And I've been to a lot of different locals where Street Fighter, I mean, if you're listening to this, you might have a local that no one plays Street Fighter 5 right now. That's very possible. Like,
That's fine.
There are places that don't want to play it because of, for whatever reason.
They just don't like it. It can be a game that people don't like, and that's fine.
Yeah. But if you like it, if you like it and you have even like an established local, which is like a couple dudes playing Dragon Ball at a card shop, something typical like that. If you like Street Fighter, go help build Street Fighter there. Like, if you like to play Street Fighter with other people, go there and just let other people know, hey, I'm gonna go and play Street Fighter. If people are down, let's play. Let's get some sets in, because and people will come.
While it is here's kind of like the opposite side of it, right? And Daniel, I'm pretty sure you understand this as well. Where Street Fighter V, super easy game to dunk on, right? Like, it is the easiest game to dunk on, like, of all time. Are you kidding me? So easy. So much so that any dunk that I see, especially as a moderator of our Street Fighter, it's like, I've seen this ad nauseum thousands of times, puts me to sleep. I don't give a fuck about that. Thing about it, fucking ton of people play Street Fighter V. Like, a lot of people play that game. Like, that is undeniable. Like, it is a highly played game. 3 years, like nearly 4 years after release. Like, it is popular. You can put asses in seats with that game. It doesn't have this like stigma of like, I don't like Street Fighter 5. We're not going to have that in my local. Well, guess what? People fucking play Street Fighter 5. For what it's worth, it is ultimately a good game that will bring people. And
yeah, and I'm not even shilling for it. I'm just saying, if you like Street Fighter 5,
people like it.
Go play Street Fighter 5. If you don't like Street Fighter 5, that's fine. And if you want to spend if you don't want to go and play Street Fighter 5 because your fear is that too many people will be like, hey, like, if you're letting like the social media of like people hating on Street Fighter 5 preventing you from playing Street Fighter 5, even though you like Street Fighter 5, you got to figure that out, man. Like, you gotta get over that. You gotta get over that hump, and that's part of like the fighting game mentality. It's just getting over that stigma of it. And I'll tell you that if you like Street Fighter 5, there are tons of people, like you said, who play it, who also like it. Maybe not love it.
It's an incredibly popular game.
Yeah,
I think it's a good game.
Yeah.
Justin Wong would agree with you. Justin Wong would rank it S tier. Well, no, it was I can't remember if there was S plus or just S and then A. But it is the second tier game. Tier 2.
In terms of balance, this is either the most balanced or the second most balanced Street Fighter of all time.
I would argue that is the most Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter game of all time. I can't think what game was more balanced.
Like maybe 4.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
LuckyD, like
as a Dawson main.
4 Ultra. I played 4. I mean, like 4 Ultra was pretty balanced.
Listen, I played a ton of 4. I went to Singapore like 3 months ago, and I played in a AE 2012 six cab like arcade where they haven't stopped playing, and I got washed for like 3 hours. It was hour 1. Okay. I'm gonna remember how to do this. It's been a minute. I don't have delay tech, but you know what? I can do this. Hour 2 was, this is okay. Let's make some adjustments here. Let's make some adjustments here. Hour 3, it's just me throwing money. And I'm getting mixed by not just like the Ibukis and the Kamis. I got mixed by a Ryu player, like hard. Like I got Vortex by Ryu, and that's when I had that realization, like, I haven't played this game in a while. These guys never stopped.
Ryu Sim was a fun matchup back then. Man, that was a fun matchup because he had to gamble so hard in the neutral.
Yeah, and yeah, it was. I mean, so it was a ton of fun. I also am a huge Third Strike like I love Third Strike.
Yeah,
That's
but
like
to that point though, like not a balanced game. Like when you say like Street Fighter 4, I'm like, yo, Hakan versus Dhalsim was fucking free. Like there are so many matchups in that game where I'm like, yeah, you get washed. Like you just get trounced. Like that's fine. The Street Fighter 5, there's a large contingent of like tournament viable characters, I believe.
And I'll give you like the other side of the coin of that. Street Fighter 5 is super balanced, and part of me doesn't love that.
Yes.
Part of me,
I have said on this podcast before, I'm in 100% agreement.
Right.
Please riff on it. Go ahead.
I mean, and this is okay. Again, this is me being like a little like in the past, but playing, not just like playing like the broken stuff and then beating the broken stuff, and like so I played Sim. Able Sim was impossible. That matchup was so hard. And if you beat an Able player who was good in tournament, there was nothing else they could do. Like the only reason you beat that matchup is because you just outplayed them, like straight up. Like you just know the matchup and the intricacies way better. And part of that is the engine of Street Fighter 4 had a deeper thing, but that's also why like I don't know, Third Strike parry, CVS2,
roll canceling.
Roll canceling, or even just A group. If the system itself can make like really unique, like raise the bar of it. So like even though Street Fighter 5 is super balanced and there's a super good pro to that, I actually am super scared if Street Fighter 6 comes out and it's a deeper game. I'm super scared of all the Street Fighter 5 players, like the Burkishes, who are going to play 6 with a higher engine, because 5 makes you pay attention to things you never paid attention to in prior Street Fighter games. Like knowing all the frame data, super hardcore, is something that I still am not super accustomed to. And all the new Street Fighter players are so like you have to know it. Not
only knowing it, but also knowing like, well, here's the space I'm at on block where, well, actually I can't do this here. And to that effect, if I walk backwards for 2 frames, then I'm totally out of range of this thing. It's crazy highly specific. The amount of high level play you get in Street Fighter 5 is like, the amount of knowledge that someone has to have is bonkers to actually be competitive in this game. But I agree. The level of competition also has just stepped the fuck up.
It's crazy.
There are some strong players out there. Burkish,
Oh, of course. There's a ton of strong players. I mean, the thing about 5 too is like I feel like 5 doesn't have that barrier of entry that other fighting games do. Like, if you want to be a competitive Marvel player, you have to figure out some infinites, right? Or Marvel 3, at least. But it's like with 5, it's like, it's more about, I've heard this a lot, where 5 is more of just a straight-up test of mental strength, more than anything. Like, keeping your head in the game is, like, all 5 is about, because everything kills you in this game. So, it's really just being able to, like, constantly weigh risk-reward. And like it's like you said, it's more about the little stuff rather than like these big like, oh, I have to know this setup or I have to know how to block this unblockable setup. It's more like how mentally stable are you and how forward thinking are you is the way I look at 5.
Yeah, I have said similar things on that topic. If actually you were at Combo Breaker, I was quoted in that book saying something basically along those lines. That is my stance on it as well.
Yeah.
But enough about Street Fighter 5. We can stop talking about that because there's other stuff going on right now. Like other games right now. How do you guys feel? And this is kind of a hot button topic, and I can understand why. And if people listen to, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. The episode where I ran down through the bullet point list of people's most wanted things for Street Fighter 5. Input leniency or input lag, one of the higher voted things that people wanted. They want less of it. So Samurai Showdown 8 frames of input lag.
8 frames.
It feels terrible.
8 frames of input lag with 86% solidarity on the and again, thanks to Weed on Twitter. That's Dr. Weed on Twitter. He's a fucking man. He jumped on it, hopped on, got his input lag test done, and was like, "Hold the phone. This ain't good. This ain't good at all." So what's like? I don't know, because I know that I have my personal take on it, but has your communities been talking about it? Has people been like planning for Sam's show now and then being like backing off of it? What's like the local, what's the smoke on the street?
The one thing I will say is the director of Samurai Showdown, or like the creator, like directly responded on Twitter and was like, we'll look into it. So that's cool. So like they might lower it. But I did think it was funny. Like I'm in the Samurai Showdown Discord, and the second that was announced, some guy was like, "I'm canceling my pre-order," and I was like, "Okay, that's a little extreme," because input delay can be fixed. If you're the only reason you wanted to buy a game was because it had 4 frames of input delay. That's a little harsh, I would say. But in general, I do think if the game comes out with 8 frames of input delay, it will probably turn out to not be a competitive game. Right. If they fix it. Yeah.
The assumption is that they are gonna fix it. And I agree with Nick. If they're not gonna fix it, and they can't fix it either by launch or hotfix very quickly, then that's gonna be probably pretty bad. But other than that, I think people are, from what I've heard, is that there are people who are pretty excited to play it, both from just being SNK fans and being Samurai Showdown fans and after seeing like the engine, like it looks pretty good. Kind of slow, but like that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I think I'm gonna end up like, if the game is like competitively viable, I think I'm gonna compete in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's cool.
I personally, just to show my bias, I am still excited for it, but actually, after doing the research that I did for the episode where I broke down the list of Street Fighter V complaints, like I think it was 2 episodes ago. Regardless, I actually like looked into like how 3D fighting games use rollback netcode and like the windows of input leniency that they need to build into the engine to then apply to a netcode for it to work. And like 8 frames in general is like what people start at. So that's like your starting block, is that 8 frames of leniency for, you need that in input lag to also make up for your rollback netcode later. It's all tied together, folks. So it all makes sense. Listen to that episode. I got like in the weeds of like Pepe Sylvia on the back, on the whiteboard over here, circled red ink. It was a whole thing. But to me, when I saw that, I was like, it's a beta. Kind of makes sense. I will see when it comes out. Like, you don't have to pre-order it now. You can buy it before I think the 31st of the month, and you can still get all the DLC. Like, they're not forcing you to buy it right away. So let Weed do his testing after launch, see if everything's all fixed up, and if that is something that truly matters to you, and if it hasn't been fixed, like, then that community should, I don't know, rise up against it, or do what you got to do. If it's a game that you're passionate about, that's fine. But in my mind, I think this is a beta test. They're probably using it as a test. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think in general, like if you're a Street Fighter V player and you're good at Street Fighter V, there's a good chance you could be good at this game. Just because it has a kind of similar playstyle, to be honest. Well, other than the fact that there's no offense in the game. Offense actually doesn't
agree with that. I mean,
I think the neutral is almost the same as Street Fighter V. I think the neutral is the same. But there is no sense of, and I've never played Samurai Showdown. This is my first one.
Okay.
But I will say that the main difference is there's not a big offense. Like almost every move is punishable. And I'm probably gonna make mistakes because I haven't played like all the other games. But pretty much every normal move is punishable. Almost all of them, once you're close. So because of that, offense is very minimal. So it's like the offense is like really short. Like you can press like one or two buttons and then that's it. And you're never plus on block unless you get a jump.
Yeah, there were in Sam Show 2, it was very common to have like whole rounds go by and characters not press buttons for like a large chunk of time. That wasn't uncommon because of how fucking risky it was to whiff something and then have Halmaro hit you with that heavy slash and then your health just is gone. And
man, some of the punishes in this game is gonna look so good.
See, that's the part of it too is that some things are punishable on a hit because you can cancel it into whatever the fuck it's called and then punish them with like your big super move. But anyway. Okay, enough Samurai Showdown 2. It's fun to see people excited about that in different regions as well. And also nice for me to get other people's takes on it too, because I'm kind of like outside of it as someone who runs a Street Fighter podcast. But sure. Anyway, before we wrap up and head into the end of the show, I do want to bring up one community thing that happened recently. But Nikhail, just want to briefly mention underwent cancer treatment and seems to be doing okay. I don't know if everything has been fully funded yet. I'll try and get a link in the show notes if that's something that you feel like compelled to give towards. This is something that happens within the FGC fairly regularly. It's been a long time since there's been like a big medical expense to pop up within a player within a community, or or even like something being stolen from a community where it's like we need like just something to help out to get us back on our feet. Been a while, and this was something that's like, oh yeah, that's like he's kind of under the gun here. Like it's not a good situation, but it looked like he's on the mend. He's just definitely got some medical bills, so I'll try to include that in the show notes, and if not, hit him up on twitter.com. Absolutely. But again, just wanted to mention that. All right, before we get into the final topic, Burkish, is there anything that we haven't talked about during the show that you would like to mention or bring up before we pull the shades on this one?
No, not really. I will say shout out to my sponsor, Dramatic. I recently just got they just sent me a jersey and it looks really cool. So
esports
shout out
is
to
whack.
him.
Fuck esports.
Hey.
No, it's just shout outs to Team Dramatic.
Yeah, so that was the only other thing. With
a K. All right, LuckyD, what's up?
I think just the top of my head, shout outs to Red Blade. He did really well.
He got second at Combo Breaker.
He got second Combo Breaker at Under Night, and he only lost to a Japanese god. And just to give you reference, he's a chill dude. He came to the Massachusetts Anime Monthly the week after, like 1 or 2 weeks afterwards. And he, I don't mean to blow him up about this, but I need to for the story. He lost to a local in grand finals. He lost to Foxov, who's a very good player too, and is a hype grand finals. And Red Blade's just super chill about it. He's like, all right, cool. All right, I'm going to go play my Sailor Moon tournament match now.
Oh, you guys got Sailor Moon too? Fuck.
Yeah, we have like a strong Sailor Moon community. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You guys got to hit up the Toronto scene with a scene.
When Willie came to PAX, we talked about Sailor Moon. And I was just like, this is just a wild thing. I'm talking to a Canada guy about relevant or comparing Sailor Moon stuff. And it's like, I was like, what is happening? This is
talking about the tier list of Sailor Moon, being like,
no. I'll tell you this. Shoutouts to Omni Rabbit and Jackie Robinson and all the guys who run the Massachusetts Sailor Moon scene. I told Omni Rabbit when he first proposed that, he was like, hey, can I start bringing Sailor Moon to one of the weeklies? Like, I want to grow it, and I love the game. And I told him, like, I'll give you all the resources you need, and I'll help what I can, but it's really all on you for that game. Like, that game doesn't have enough, like, inertia outside of it. Like, if you really dig it, you've got to, you're going to be the driving force behind it. And he just took it and ran. And now we have like regular, not regular, but probably bi-weekly Sailor Moon brackets at the weekly.
It's really funny.
Mike Smith, Volcanic Akuma is like nationally ranked because he wins a ton of the weeklies. And then they because they submit the weeklies every week, so he gets points every week.
Oh my god,
that's fucking rad.
Yo, there's a pro tour.
They're I don't know, I don't remember how it is now, but there was a point ladder system.
Yeah, there is. That exists.
Okay, well, and just for reference, the winners of the tournaments get like cookies. Like, they don't play for money. Like, first place gets like a Chips Ahoy.
Hey, man, that's like that's what makes the best. Honestly, that's what makes the best players, because it's not the people who are motivated by the cash. It's the people who are motivated by being the best. And that's just fact.
And I'll tell you, when we at one of the anime monthlies, Sailor Moon was a bracket, and I can't remember what her name is, but someone came down who is like pretty good at that game, and one of our locals, Tam, he beat her in bracket for it, and he popped off. He went off. He was so hype. He won that match.
You gotta defend.
I was like,
you gotta defend your local.
Yeah, and I looked over and I was like, oh, what happened? Wait, Tam won his Sailor Moon match? Oh my god, I gotta get over there. Hold on. Like, it's awesome. You know, it's Sailor Moon, like, you know.
Enough Sailor Moon hype. We've talked about enough anime bullshit on this podcast to fill a whole month's worth of podcasting of anime bullshit. We gotta end this show. Burkish, I'll let you go first because I can't let you leave. Are you still with us? Still got time?
Hi, how you doing?
Okay, very quickly, because I know you got to run. Can you tell me what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game, and subsequently, what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
Oh God, my favorite normal move, probably. I have no idea, man. I'm gonna go with like Dudley, like Stand Fierce, like that punch in the face.
All right, you're holding forward during that, or are you not holding forward?
You're holding forward.
Okay, good man.
And my favorite combo, I used to love the Doctor Doom stuff from Marvel 3, like the fingers. Before it became boring, I used to love it.
The foot dive.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like the original Marlin Pie, like TAC stuff.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. No, those combos were dope. Yeah, Doctor Doom was sick. All right, good answer. And if you have to pop off, people can find you at BurkishMan on Twitter.com, and we'll have all the other links to your stuff in the show notes. All right, then. So, same question goes to you, LuckyD. What is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
All right, definitely Stand Fierce Punch Street Fighter 4 Delsum. It's not even close.
That's
like,
fair.
I hit that button so hard and so many times. It's the best. Like, best feeling button in the game.
Well, because it's also like a risky move too, right? Like it's a commitment. You gotta commit to it.
I've been hit by full screen standing roundhouse EX machine gun blow from Deadly. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, like that also. But also, like, people might want to jump at you. Like, as a Zangief main.
Oh, that too. I've
landed on top of your head a number of times.
Yeah, but if you've ever seen me play IRL, I hit buttons very hard. So I love hitting that button very hard.
Very good.
And then what was the other question?
Well, the follow-up to that is, what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
So, okay, favorite combo is actually just a 2-in-1 link. It's third strike, Ken, crouching medium punch, hit confirm linked into super.
No, I'm for it. Simple combos like that, simple links, I'm for it. Why that particular combo though for you?
So it's that's always my focal point of what is hit confirmable in terms of like, does the game engine allow you enough time to physically see it and then input the command and then hit them on hit and not on block?
Right.
You can do it It's a little different with other scenarios, but that's a very great example of it. So if you're listening and you ever boot up Third Strike and you're like, I just want to try something out, turn on random hit, crouching medium punch with Ken, on hit, confirm into super, on block, don't. It is, when you get that down, it is one of the best fighting game feelings I can't stress it enough. That feeling that you can do that, it's super great.
Because that's like a noticeable rung of skill where it's like, oh, I can or cannot do this. This is either within or not within my realm of possibility. And once you hit it, you go, okay, great, I'm there. I can do this now.
Yeah, and there are harder ones that you can do. Like if you do Ken low forward Third Strike on arcade cab, you can hit confirm that. That is possible, but it's much harder. The medium punch one is a nice, like, this is like medium high difficulty. Like this shows that you've put practice into it, and it's super rewarding without being like, I need to see into the matrix, like wired in, been playing for the last 10 years to do this consistently.
The latency between my hands and what happens on screen needs to be 0 frames. In fact, well, not really, but
right.
You guys know what I mean. No, yeah, that is true. I actually think that James Chen was talking about that, and Daiga recently said, like, yeah, I can hit the low forward into super. That's confirmable, easy. Do that all the time.
Low forward into super with Ken is the quintessential debate of, is it possible? Is it possible? And every Third Strike player who's played on cab, played for a long time, myself included, it is possible.
Right.
But it's very hard.
Mm-hmm. You have to practice.
Yeah, it's like you have to play fighting games or something.
Oh, fuck, man. I fucking wish. There are some times where I'm like, fuck this community shit. I just want to play and have fun. But I haven't had fun in a long. No, I have a ton of fun running community events, but playing fighting games is fun too, you guys. I like to do that sometimes.
Set goals. Set small goals. Don't try to win Evo.
No, absolutely not. My goal, here's the thing. This has always been my goal as a Zangief main, 100% through and through. If you put a Zangief in a video game, I'm going to play that Zangief. My goal is to not win so much as turn someone else into a highlight reel. If I can do something that pulls the pants down on someone, then I'm for it.
I hate when I get hit by a jab SPD in any Street Fighter game by Zangief.
It never feels good. It never feels good.
And it's always the same thing. I don't want to out loud admit that I don't want to say it hits from that far, but in my head I'm like, of course it hits from that far. It's always that far, Dan. You ask this question yourself every time you get hit by it.
Mm-hmm.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, it's just, any opportunity I can pull the proverbial pants down on someone on stream, even. Absolutely, I'll play that card. I don't have to. I don't have to win the set. Here's the thing: I don't have to win the set. I just have to do the cool thing. That's where I'm at in my fighting game career.
Man. I dig it. I dig it.
All right, well, LuckyD, it has been a pleasure having you on. I believe Burkish Man has popped off. Let me just have you. Yeah, he's gone. Big thank you to Burkish Man for taking the time, and big thank you to you, LuckyD, and a good luck to you and all that you have going on with Traveling Controller and that whole region of the world. But where could people find you on the internet if they were looking for you and what you do?
Facebook, LuckyD, Twitter, Fortunate Daniel, Twitter and Facebook, Traveling Controller, if you're looking for events. And then we have we have Discords and a centralized Facebook group called NEFGC. And that's where you can find a ton of information. But, if it's out there, if you're looking for it, it's out there.
And if you're looking for it and hearing this, it will be in the show notes. So That's all you have to. If you whatever podcast app of choice, if you just like do a scroll, it'll be there, and you can probably click on it if it's your phone. Anyway, folks, that's a show. I'm at Super Joe Monday on Twitter.com or at Reddit SF, or you can just go on over to our Street Fighter and see what's happening. By the way, folks, right now, I haven't been vocal about this on social media, but right now you can nominate any player you want, or any. It doesn't have to be a player. It could be a content creator to go to EVO, our Street Fighter player sponsorship for EVO 2019. Nominations are open until Friday. So let me get the dates on that one. So June 7th, the nominations are closing. All you have to do is just drop a name in. It could be anybody. And then starting on June 10th, we will start the voting. That'll last a week until the 14th. And then we'll send however many players we'll send or content creators to EVO. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I have no say in it. I'm just letting you know. I'm just the messenger and the wheel spinner here. I'm just spinning plates. I just allow this thing to happen, but it's really the community that gets things done. But all right, folks, that's a show. Catch us every week on your podcast app of choice. I guess rate and review. My lawyer said I was supposed to say that. Actually, no. LuckyD's social media manager told me to say that. And it catches every Thursday. There's also the Monday tournaments for the East Coast and the Friday tournaments for the West Coast. Check our Street Fighter for all that bullshit. But until next time, folks, take care.
See ya.